Hello everyone, welcome back to Central Smart QA Hub. In today's section, we are going to learn one of the most useful features in the Playwright called storage state. This is used to skip your login test in all your feature tests and run your script much faster. Now, what is storage state? Storage state is basically the Playwright's the way of storing your login section into the JSON file. And this file contains cookies and local storage and authentication tokens. Once the file is created, Playwright can rerun it. Means your testers started already login. No more typing username password for every test. Now why we use storage state? To avoid the repeat login for every test. To speed up the test execution and to maintain the consistent section in UI automation. This is especially useful when you work with bigger test suites. So how it works? This process is very simple. We perform login steps in one of the script. After login steps, we will create a storage state and then we will save that section to the file. And remaining test, we tell the Playwright to load that file into automatically and reuse the login steps. All your tests launch in a login stated. Now let's work on the coding. Now I'll create a separate spec file for creating the storage state. I'll create a spec file now. I'll create a new file, login.spec file, login.spec.ts. Here let me write the test method and I'll give the title creating the storage state. Next I'll call the page fixture async of page fixture. Then I'll call the arrow function. Let me import the test method. What is the scenario we are going to write it here is we are going to log into the application. After we are going to save the storage state. Save the storage state. So for example here I'm going to log into the application. We can use any of these three username and password is demo. For example here I'm going to log in with the debit user and password is demo. So I'll copy this. First let me open the application. I'll copy the URL of the application. Await page.goto. I'll paste the URL of the application. Next, we are going to enter the username password. Click on login. Now we'll find the locator for username. Right click, inspect element. Here I'll take the placeholder value. I'll copy this placeholder value. Now here we are going to enter the username. Await page.get by placeholder. Then I'll paste the username placeholder value. Dot fill. Here I'm going to enter debit user. Next we'll write the code for password. Right click on the password text box, inspect element. Here I'll take the placeholder value for password. Await page dot get by placeholder. Then I'll paste the placeholder value of the password dot fill method. Here the password of the application is demo. Next, click on the login button. To click on the login button, right click, inspect element, inspect element. This is a code for the login button. Here I'll take the login button text. The text is login. Login might be duplicate. Let me check. You can press Ctrl F. Paste the login. See here we have 10 matches. Login is having partial text. For login is having the partial text all the places except login button. The login button is having complete text. So the code will be await page dot get by text. Here I'll paste the login button text, comma. Here we can add one of the property called exact colon, you can see it's a boolean value. By default it is false. Then if you are looking for the complete text, then we have to mention true. Dot click method. After login, the Playwright will be executed faster. We have to wait and see for few seconds. Wait. Page dot wait for timeout. Here I'll give for 6 seconds. Let me run the code and we'll check whether we are able to log in. After that, we'll create a storage state. So how do you run it? To run the command npx playwright test, then spec file name login.spec.ts. We are opening the application and enter the username as a debit user, password demo, click on login. So we log in it. Now after login, we are going to create a storage state. What is the function to create a storage state? Page dot context method dot storage state function dot storage state method. Page dot context dot storage state used to create a storage state. Inside the storage state method, we have to mention the path where you want to store the JSON file. So here I'll mention the path property, path colon, and mention the path of the JSON file. For example, here I am going to store the JSON file under the test underscore data folder. So here I'll mention the test underscore data and /, then I'll give the file name authentication.json. This statement log into the application and this statement will create a storage state. Now let me run. We'll check whether the storage state file is creating. The script got passed under the project test underscore data folder. Inside the test underscore data folder, we have authentication.json file. Now the JSON file is having cookies, storage state, and authentications. Now you can see the cookies information of the application. Now we are going to load the JSON file to skip the login. Where we are going to load the JSON file? We are going to load it in the playwright.config.ts file. Click on the playwright.config.ts file. So you will find the use section. In the use section, you can add the storage state. Storage state. This property you can add it after creating the storage state. Storage state colon. After colon, we can put double quotes or single quotes. Then mention the path of the JSON file. Test underscore data / authentication.json. This statement used to load the JSON file. Now JSON file is loaded. Okay, now we'll create a separate script. We will use the storage state to skip the login. Now I'll create a spec file name. For example, here skip login .spec.ts. Create a test method. Title is skip login async with the page fixture. Now in this script, we don't need to write steps for login. Directly we have to open the home page. Await page dot go to method. Here we have to pass the home page URL. Now when you run this script, directly it will open the home page. It will skip the login page because already we loaded the storage state in the playwright.config.ts file. After open the application, explicitly I want to wait for 5 seconds. Await page dot wait for timeout. I'll give 5 seconds. Now let me run this code. npx playwright test skip login dot spec file. Now it will directly open the home page. Now it directly open the home page. So in the Playwright, we use the storage state to skip the login. Further, what are the script we will write it? For all the script, storage state is loaded. For every script, we don't write the login script. Thanks for watching. Keep learning. We'll see you in the next section.